Well, hey, everybody, welcome to Our Watch. I am Tim Thompson. Glad to have you with us today. We are going to be discussing a few different things. Primarily, I want to make sure you know we reached out to the Marietta School Board about a female changing in the male locker room. We've got a response from the superintendent we're going to go through. We got a couple other things we want to go through. Before we do that, I just want to remind you, go over to ourwatch.com if you're not there already. Subscribe there. Make sure that way you get all of our material in a timely manner, and we could get shut down on any of the social media platforms at any moment. Best way to make sure you get all of our information all the time is going to ourwatch.com. Subscribe there. Love to make sure that you get all the information you need. With me, as always, today is Jessica Tapia. Jessica and I are going to be answering questions. Jessica, thank you for being here.
Yes, love being here. So we'll dive right into that response from Dr. Ward. So he's the superintendent of Marietta Valley Unified School District. We reached out with this concern that we've received from a couple parents about a female changing in the boys' locker room. So I let him know about that. The community has concerns about that, and this was his response. So he said, "Thank you for sending your email. As a credentialed teacher, you are well versed in state and federal student privacy and confidentiality laws. Any issues regarding our students are protected, and I'm not at liberty to discuss any individual student with members of the public." That's okay. I wasn't asking about an individual student, asking about this scenario in general with the locker room. So he said, generally speaking, any student for whatever reason who is not comfortable changing around peers can request accommodation. The locker rooms have private stalls for student use. Thanks for your questions and have a great day.
Okay, so I've got a lot to say about this, but first of all, I would say this man is claimed to be a man of faith. I'm not sure what his faith is in, but I would question him about his faith and how he's going to implement his faith in his own life. And you cannot compartmentalize your faith, as you know. Even the people tell us we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to bring our faith into every sphere of our life. But I can't imagine that his faith would allow for a young girl going in and changing clothes with boys. But the other thing is this. He says that a peer, that these children can request accommodation if they're not comfortable changing around their peers. And my response to that is, let's define peer. So I'll give a good definition of peer. A peer is a person who is the same age or has the same social position or the same abilities as other people in a group. Now, we're talking about a group of boys here. That girl is not their peers. So she should not even be in that locker room to begin with. Just like I am not one of their peers. I should not be going into a young girl's locker room, should I? I'm not one of their peers. That would be a weird thing to do. What they're doing here is very weird. To tell a girl to go into a boys' locker room and change with boys. She's not one of their peers. She's not a part of that group. She's not part of the same status. She doesn't have the same abilities. This is very well documented. Girls are different than boys. She doesn't have the same abilities. She's not a part of that same group. So how is it that he is saying that these kids can have the ability to request accommodation if they're not comfortable changing around their peers? This is not one of their peers. Another thing is this. Let's just set the peer aside, because I think that Mr. Ward is definitely wrong on that. She's not one of their peers. But let's set that issue aside and then just say this. Let's say these children do get an opportunity to request an accommodation. What he's doing is placing them in the middle of a fight that they did not ask to be in. These kids shouldn't be fighting this fight. This adult man, Mr. Ward, should man up, and he should be fighting this fight for the sake of all of these boys. These kids aren't going to come up and say, oh, yeah, I want an accommodation. I don't feel comfortable, because they don't want to be labeled as a transphobe, which is exactly what will happen to them if they step up and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. So they're not going to say anything. And like I said, why are we making these young boys fight this fight? They shouldn't have to fight this fight. The adult man, Mr. Ward, should be fighting this for them. Shame on him for not. So we've got another question here as we continue on. Somebody asked, how can we bring this flag policy? So I'll let you explain the flag policy in a moment, but how can we bring this flag policy into our own school district? I think that's a great question.
Yeah, so I think it was just last week. Last week was a blur for me. Maybe it was the week before. But many people saw that Temecula Valley passed the flag policy.
Right.
The whole nation really was so happy to see that.
Right.
But at the same time, we're kind of floored that this isn't already just, again, common sense and in place everywhere. And it's not. We have to get a lot more clear on flags because everyone sees it. Everyone's seeing the activism happening in classrooms.
Right.
The BLM flags, the LGBTQ flags, transgender flags, you name it. And so we've got to draw the line. And with the flag policy, it's simple. It just states that classrooms should only be flying two flags, the American flag and their state flag. And, of course, we hear people say, well, what about college flags and sports flags? There's a process within that policy where various flags can get approval. But moving forward, every classroom should have an American flag in it. We pledge allegiance to that flag, and that's the flag that unites all of us. We don't need to, create other special flags to unite certain groups or classes or peers. We have one already that unites us all, and that's the one that needs to be in every class. Anything else should go through an approval process because we've clearly seen that without that approval process, again, activism is infiltrating the classrooms.
Right.
So just like with parental notification policy, it just takes several people bringing this concern forth to their school board, emailing the school board members, showing up to the school board meeting, and knowing that we have two districts that I'm aware of here in California that have passed the flag policy, Chino Valley and Temecula Valley. We have the policy already written.
Right.
So it makes it nice for everyone else who's interested. Reach out to us. We'll get that policy right to you. Right. Your board can just discuss any maybe amendments to it that's more fitting for your community. And there you have it.
Right.
So
easy peasy. Reach out to us. We will connect you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So next question. This is coming from a husband and wife who are both teachers and have just been watching the darkness and corruption really infiltrate education. And I hate to say it makes sense, but as we know, the devil knows where to wage his wars, and children is his target.
Sure.
So they're seeing that, they're aware of that, and they have been doing their best to bring forth these different things that they're seeing to their superintendent, to their school board. They're not being listened to. No one's caring. No one's making any changes. So they've reached out to us, and they're now asking us, how can we expose this darkness without fear of retaliation? Because at this point, they've just kind of done what they felt comfortable doing and just shedding light on, hey, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. I think they see that it's at a point now where it needs to go to the next step, the next level, and they're just like, what do we do? How do we do it?
Right. Well, I think, here's the thing, and you know this very well. If they reach out to the school district in any way, they're going to be labeled. They're going to be labeled, and you're going to have activist teachers that want to go against them. It puts these teachers in a very precarious situation. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for the teachers to know that they have an advocate in our watch. Mm-hmm. We're here for them. We want to be a voice for them. If there's something going on, they've voiced some concerns, but they're getting nowhere, and they want to really shed some light on what's happening, give us a call. Mm-hmm. We'll come to the school. I'll come to the school with cameras rolling. Mm-hmm. We're not going to let this continue. This fight against our children. We're done with cowering to these people. Right. So, Ephesians 5:11 is very clear. We're to take no place in these wicked deeds done in darkness. Rather, we expose them. Mm-hmm. And so we're very happy to do that, shed light on what's going on. And also not only shedding light on it, but activating people, giving them an opportunity to get involved in being the solution. So while these teachers may get shunned at school, we can find a way where we just bring in the parents. We bring in the community. Yeah. We'll shed light on what's going on and then give the community actionable ways that they can be a part of the solution. One of those things, like with Mr. Ward at the Marietta School District, I'm going to encourage right now all parents, all community members to email Mr. Ward. Have him define for them what a peer is, because clearly he doesn't understand it if that's how he's using it. So I'm going to put in the comment sections here, I'm going to put the email address for Mr. Ward. Yep. I'm asking all parents, send him an email, let him know this is not acceptable. The fact that he's making all of these boys have to fight this fight instead of him being the grown man in the room and fighting the fight for them is unacceptable. Parents need to let him know this. We need to put the school board on notice. First of all, I already know we have a good school board in Marietta. They need to be challenging Mr. Ward on this situation. This cannot go on. This is insanity. And somebody needs to stand up for these young boys. Why are we having them fight this fight? Listen, if people know what's going on, they just need to reach out to us. We will gladly shed some light on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. My job's already been lost by shedding light, so I'm happy to just keep going.
Keep shedding light.
And I understand, this couple, they're both teachers, so they're like, what if we both lose our job? I can really understand how scary that might be. It was scary just losing my one job, but it's already happened, and I've, through it all, seen the importance of, just like you said, Ephesians 5:11, we have to expose this stuff. We absolutely have to. We all say we want change. It's not going to come unless we first expose what needs to be changed. And then, as well as not cower to taking whatever action is necessary to bring about that change. And Dr. Ward has essentially made it clear at this point. He has told the community he is okay with girls changing in the boys' locker and boys changing in the girls' locker. So now the question to you parents, are you okay with that? Because your superintendent just said he's okay with that. Are you? Because he works for you. So just like you said, parents, get activated, email him. We'll show up to the next board meeting. Whatever we need to do, we will do it.
Right. Amen. Well, Jessica, thank you as always. Love everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and go to ourwatch.com. Subscribe there. Become a watchman. We'd love to have you stay up to date on everything that's going on. Also, don't forget, email Mr. Ward at Marietta Valley Unified School District. Let him know your concerns. We cannot let this go unchecked. So God bless you. We'll see you next time right here on Our Watch with Tim Thompson.